guys, welcome back. I hope you guys are all having a good week so far. And if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is actually based on a comment that I received on my adoption journey video, where I was asked what I think are the pros and the cons of adopting a child from foster care if you go with your local county, or if you go with a foster family agency or private agency. This list is subjective, okay? It is only my opinion. It is not all inclusive, as I know I will probably forget to mention many things. So if you catch one, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Okay, I formed this pro-con list based off my current experience as a CPS social worker, as well as my recent experience of adopting a child from the foster care system, but I used an FFA, a foster family agency, and not my local county. If you'd like to know more about my adoption journey experience, as well as bringing my son home and why I went through an FFA versus the county, then please check out my other adoption journey videos. Let's get started. I actually think that FFAs and counties have more similarities than they do differences, and the similarities that they share are actually positives. So with that said, I'm going to list the similarities, which are also pros, first. First, no matter which agency that you go through, the adoption of any foster child is free. There will be minimal expenses whether you go with the FFA or whether you go with the county, but the actual adoption of a foster child is free. Some of the minimal expenses that you'll incur will be to pay for your background check to be completed, to pay for your home to meet licensing requirements such as getting fire extinguishers, if you need safety gates, making sure your carbon monoxide smoke detectors, batteries are working currently. So all those little things you're going to have to pay for out of pocket, as well as having a few items for the child that you're going to bring into the home. So from my own personal experience, as well as being a social worker, I know that you do not need to purchase everything at once while you're in the matching phase. So before being matched with my child, I had no idea what age group, what gender, what size clothing to purchase, all that stuff. So you're not necessarily expected to have just a vast selection of clothing and etc. You just cannot have a bare bones empty room. So in my case, I purchased a 3-in-1 convertible crib. So it will go from crib to toddler bed to mini day bed. And then I purchased, I think I only had about 5 toys, and it was like some blocks, books, and puzzles, and a teddy bear. I had no bedding, I had no clothing. But also with that said, I had money, funds in my account that demonstrated, should you call me tomorrow and say, hey, you have a 7-year-old child coming, I have the funds to then go out to get the things that the child would need, as well as if you say, oh, a newborn is coming, okay, I can go out right now to the store, get some formula, get all these things. So you don't have to keep formula and bottles stocked on hand. Another shared similarity between adopting via the county or an FFA is that either route provides permanency for children. This leads into another shared similarity in that once biological parents' rights are terminated, it's terminated. So it doesn't matter if you go the FFA route or if you're going the county route. If you have a child placed in your home and they decide to terminate reunification for the parents, reunification is the attempts and efforts made to return the children to their biological parent. So if the court deems that they're not going to offer or they're going to terminate the reunification efforts, then the child is transferred to adoptions and the parental rights are terminated. In that transfer to adoption process, the biological parents can contest and take the decision to trial. Once the trial concludes and the judge determined that the original decision was valid, then parental rights are terminated and there's no going back and undoing it. I can only speak about this next similarity slash pro about my particular county, because this one varies from county to state with stipend. My county pays FFA and county foster homes, adoptive home, the same rate, equally. Originally, FFAs received more money. I don't know why, but private agency received more money than county homes. Now they're equal here where I'm at. This might not be the case for wherever you're at. So, like I said, this only applies to my current county. Let's talk sibling placement. This is a shared pro with FFA and county, because if you have a child in your care, whether you have adopted this child or in the process of adopting or just fostering the child, you will receive a phone call if another sibling comes into care asking if you are interested in the placement of this child, because the county is pro family connection. So it is better to have siblings who may be adopted out placed in the same home, who's willing to provide permanency for the both of them, rather than have one here, have one there, have one there. Now, you can't take them all after a certain point, because sometimes 9 children would come into care and people can't take 9. We understand that. But if you're open to 1, 2, 3, you get first dibs, basically. So other shared similarities and pros between FFAs and county: both offer respite care. Respite care is if you need a break. They put the child in a different location, different foster home, while you take a break. Also, during the holiday season, Christmas, both agencies provide gifts for the children. Daycare. Daycare is super expensive, and usually if you have a small child, the cost of daycare usually is more than the stipend that you'll actually receive as a foster or adoptive parent, no matter if you're with the county or with an FFA. However, each county has like a preschool program for preschool age children, where if they are a foster child, even if there's a wait list, they go to the top, so they get in quicker. As well as there are daycare subsidy programs specifically for foster children. It's called different things depending on the county that you're in. With this subsidy program, they'll pay for the child's daycare until the adoption is final. However, the wait list is so long that even if they go to the top, it may take several months to get into the program, and by the time you get in, your adoption could be finalized. So there aren't too many daycare options for foster and or adoptive parents outside of these free preschool opportunities. So FFAs do not pay for the daycare, but I put this on mutual list because whether you're with the county or an FFA, you can utilize the free preschool programs as well as the daycare subsidy. It's just that getting on these lists is a con. So here is where the separation begins. I'm going to start with the county. I'm going to do the pros first, and then I'm going to do the con. This list is short. 1, if you get certified and licensed through your county, your wait for placement of an adoptive child may be shorter than if you go with an FFA. This also applies to if you are looking for an infant, newborn, toddler, especially a white infant, newborn, or toddler, because those children are highly requested. Why is the wait shorter? Because children in CPS have county social workers. County social workers are linked with adoptive social workers who work for the county. So if you get your home certified through the county, you get first dibs, and children that cannot be placed in county homes are then outsourced to local private agency FFAs. Another pro is that you don't have to assist with visitation if you are licensed through the county. Counties provide their own visitation monitors. Monitors will pick the children up, take them to visits, supervised visits, and then take them back to placement or your home. Like I said, list is super short. If I'm missing something out there, let me know. Let's move on to cons. Con number 1. County social workers especially in larger counties, can have really high caseloads. When a county social worker's caseload is really high, this can affect the promptness in communicating with you. This means that you'll have slower responses if you call them, if you have questions, concerns, needs. There's going to be a delay. You're kind of expected to be an advocate for yourself and for the child placed in your home, to be a problem solver. If you have a problem, you are kind of expected to figure it out. Call your social worker as a last resort. So if you need hand holding, getting certified through the county may not actually be for you. And I say this because county social workers, compared to foster family agency privacy social workers, have so many jobs functions. And I know that this is not the culture that the department wants to be seen, but when you have high caseloads and high demands, this is actually what is the result of it, unfortunately. Okay, so let's move on to foster family or private agency pros. If you like an agency that's more involved, more hands-on, then FFA may be for you. With FFAs, this can be a pro or a con. I put it in the pro if you want more hands-on. FFAs will visit you more than counties. Your county social worker will see you one time a month. The end. So sometimes if you can't get a hold of your county social worker, you will have to wait to the next visit next month to ask questions or express concerns. With your FFA social worker, at your initial placement, you will receive weekly visits. Then as the child gets settled, you'll go down to bi-weekly visits. In addition to those bi-weekly visits, your county social worker will still visit monthly. So that's at least 3 visits a month. Why does the county social worker visit if you have an FFA? Because the county social worker is for the county foster child. So that county worker needs to visit with the child each month, whether they're in a county home or if they're in an FFA home. The next pro is actually one of my favorite pros, as I'm a consumer via adoption with an FFA, and I value this pro so much. If you're with an FFA and you have a problem, you contact your FFA social worker and you sit back and do nothing else. That is for me. You don't have to problem solve. You don't have to call around. You let your FFA social worker know what your problem or concern or need is, and they will do it. This is because FFA social workers, as I stated earlier, do not have the responsibilities that county social workers have. FFA social workers are actually your social worker. I suppose you can argue that isn't it the same if you go with the county? The county's focus is providing permanency for children. Ideally, we would want the children to go home or with another relative or family friend. So the main focus isn't going to necessarily be focused on foster parents or adoptive parents. And I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. So because FFA social workers' caseloads are really low compared to county workers, they do not have the responsibilities that a county social worker have. It may be easier to communicate and to reach your FFA social worker. They're usually speedier in response and quicker to get your needs met. Okay, pro 3-ish. If you choose to go through an FFA agency, then you are not restricted to children solely in your county. You can have children placed from around your state in your home. If you go through the county, then you end up with your county children. Why? Because your local county is concerned with the children in their care. They're not worried about the next county's kids and getting them forever homes. They're trying to solve their own forever home situation. Another pro with FFAs is that you have more continuity, meaning that all your needs can probably be serviced in one place. You go to the same building for your orientation, for your classes, your social workers in that building. Okay, so my last pro for FFA is that if you're going through a religious-based FFA, then they sometimes offer additional supportive components. An example would be spiritual counseling. FFA cons 1 and 2 are the opposite of County 1 and 2 pros. Usually with an FFA, you have a longer wait to receive placement and an even longer wait if you want a baby, infant, or toddler, especially of the white ethnicity. Another perceived con, and I don't think it's a con because I'm open to older children, would be because county homes get the younger children first, FFAs tend to have older children and sibling sets. And when I say sibling sets, I'm meaning 3+ children, because usually 2 children are more easy to place. However, when you start getting 3, 6, sometimes even like 9 children, it's hard to maintain those children together, so they often get broken up. As stated earlier, this next one can be a pro, it could be a con, depends on your preference. You will receive more visits with an FFA than you will with the county. County 1 time a month. The end. FFA between 2 and 4 visits a month, depending where you're at in your process. People tend to think that this is a con if they're working, because now you have to take off from work to make yourself available for these monthly visits. And if you have 4 visits a month, you're taking off from work 4 times a month. This is in addition to the medical and dental appointments that you have to take the child to, as well as any if they do counseling, any mental health requirements, or if they're a delayed child and they need services, you have to meet those needs. So if you have to take off from work, you have to take off from work. Another con, which I know a few people on my current caseload are not too thrilled about, is having to transport the child to family visits. Never will you ever have to supervise a visit if you're with the foster family agency, but your agency, depending on their requirements, may require you to transport the child to visits with their biological family. This could be a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, a cousin, a sibling, an adult sibling, or even a minor sibling if they're placed in a different home, and for you to pick this child up and take them back home. This was something I didn't actually have to worry about with my son, because he came for such a long distance and his county had already deemed his visits inappropriate, so he wasn't participating in any visitation when I brought him home. Had he been participating in visits, then I would have been responsible for taking him all the way across state. In case you're wondering, biological parents are entitled to continue visiting with their children until 1, the court deems it inappropriate or unsafe for them to maintain contact, or 2, the adoption is finalized. Once the adoption is finalized, it's your decision if you're going to maintain that contact or not. So in conclusion, if you choose to adopt via an FFA private agency, you will probably get more support from your FFA social worker. You'll probably get quicker responses from your FFA social worker. You'll probably have a more streamlined experience. You won't have to problem solve or fix anything, and your worker will probably be more consistent. If you choose to adopt via your local county and they are a large and heavily saturated county, then you will have to practice patience, perseverance, advocacy, and self-help. You'll only have once a month visits, and you're most likely to receive placement, especially if you're looking for an infant, baby, or toddler more quickly. As I stated earlier, these are only my opinions, and when I adopt again in the future, I will absolutely use an FFA, as I think it's more of a pro for my needs and my family than a con. Do you guys agree or disagree with my pro-con list? Do you think I forgot anything? Questions, concerns, all of the above? Leave me a comment down below and we'll chat. If you want to see more videos like these, as well as parenthood and womanhood related, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you know anytime I upload here. And I'm on Instagram and Snapchat if you guys ever want to drop by and say hey. I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.